This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
All right, time to sit back, relax, and let us do all the work. As you can see, no KB. Instead, it's JP holding down the fort this week.
That's right. Thank you, RD. Might as well keep the theme going. Anyway, we have a lot of info to get to, so here we go. Coming up, witness the incredible journey of teamwork, family, and the power of a village as these youngsters take their livestock program to new heights. It's the heartwarming story of growth and unity at the Georgia National Fairgrounds. Also on the program, former Ag Commissioner Gary Black, his mission to strengthen the state's agribusiness sector and expand global markets. Plus,
well, hey everybody, Ranger Nick. Coming up a little bit later, I'm hanging out with a scientist and learning about the qualities of soil. We're getting our hands dirty and we're learning about things that she is doing to contribute to fertility and to benefiting the plants that grow in it. That and so much more starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
Well, as many will attest, showing livestock is far more than just competition. There are several lessons to be learned that encourage personal development. That was on display recently as livestock exhibitors, parents, and teachers all came together to ensure a successful show for everyone involved. Our John Holcomb has the story.
Down in Perry at the Georgia National Fair's Junior Livestock Shows, these young dairy cow exhibitors are finally getting the chance to showcase months of time and energy that's gone into getting their calf show ready. A true testament of the power of hard work, dedication, and teamwork, as about 2/3 of these kids are new to an exploding livestock program in Whitfield County.
All of a sudden it's boomed. We've gone from 5 or 6 or 7 and sometimes 8 calves that are being shown to this year it's looking like 13, 14, 17, 18, 19. We're not exactly sure where it's going to stop, but it has been something that's been really popular because of the family involvement, and other family members see it and other friends see it, and it's just kind of exploded because they see the fun and the benefit of the project.
Due to them seeing such new involvement, they've had to get creative and did so by working together, both kids and families, to teach, train, and practice before the show season got underway, which, according to Greta Beckler, who has 2 kids showing this year, is what has made it so special and rewarding this season, and is what has proved that it certainly does in fact take a village.
In livestock showing, it takes a village. We arrive at the barn early in the morning, and we'll have some people designated to bring breakfast, but then we'll have other kids here that they're immediately feeding the calves in the morning together and making sure that they've got plenty of hay and water, and parents are involved also. We're constantly clipping and grooming the calves. We're constantly looking at our friends around and how can we help, and it's just an incredible service opportunity, and it really is a village that comes together to make this happen.
To Beckler, that's what makes livestock showing so appealing. As she says, watching all of the families and kids come together is a special sight to see, and is something she says is truly unique to livestock exhibiting.
There's an element of uniqueness to showing livestock that we've just fallen in love with. Our kids have been able to join this group of other kids and adults in learning how to care for these animals and just being responsible for the animals, but then also being responsible for carrying themselves and being able to speak to adults in the ring, in the arena. But it's also an element of service toward each other. We serve each other in making sure the animals are fed. It may not be that we just take care of our calf, but maybe we're helping somebody else. And so there's this part of this that you don't get with any other activity.
And to Robbins, in the end, that's what it's all about. Yes, of course, she loves to watch them show and compete well in the arena, but to her, watching them work hard and help each other along the way is by far the most important part.
Watching the kids help each other. Watching the kids say, oh, wait a minute, I'll go back and get the water hose for you. Or, hey, you're almost up, let me help you get ready. When these might not have been kids that would have ever had this opportunity. And to watch these kids that normally wouldn't be even in the same school, to be together and helping each other out and kind of having their tasks in order. I love those partnerships, those friendships, and all hands on deck.
Reporting in Perry for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Well, the Georgia Vocational Rehabilitation Agency had quite the surprise up its sleeve at their recent board meeting. You see, GFE President Tom McCall and his wife Jane, who also happens to be a board member, thought the other was going to be recognized for their contributions to the organizations. Instead, they were duped in the best way possible. As part of a top-secret proclamation, the GVRA announced a scholarship named in honor of their late son, Bud, who passed away in 2000 from spina bifida. As one might imagine, it rendered both of the McCall speechless and emotional. The Bud McCall Scholarship will be awarded to any VR client interested in attending a post-secondary institution.
We are glad that people recognize the abilities of people with so-called disabilities. And that's what GVRA is all about, is helping people be useful and productive citizens. And that's why Georgia does as good as it does with the place to do business.
Well, for someone who just turned 79 years old, Smokey Bear looks pretty good, don't you think? That was him atop of the old BB&T building in Macon to help kick off National Fire Prevention Week, which helps to educate people about good fire and bad fire.
On average, Georgia has about 2,300 wildfires for 13,000 acres, and the number one cause being escape yard debris burning in Georgia. And when we start getting weather like we're having today, the cooler, drier weather, everybody wants to be outside and enjoy it. But with those low humidities, also becomes, increasingly dangerous for wildfires.
Whether it was overseeing important legislative issues or creating the Georgia Grown program, former Ag Commissioner Gary Black was always looking to advance the ag industry here in the Peach State. As Damon Jones reports, that goal hasn't changed as he looks to build his new passion.
After serving as the face of Georgia agriculture for the past 12 years, former Ag Commissioner Gary Black is using his experience and connections in a new venture designed to help farming operations realize their full potential.
We kind of had a thought that I know a lot of people kind of see their situation as kind of some impossible mission. Can I do this? And so I wanted to put a team of people together to say, yes, it is a possible mission. We can help you get to your stated objectives, and so that's what we're doing. Making sure we have the right people in the right place at the right time at the right meeting to make sure we can get a deal done. That's my goal and objective.
Between the marketing, research and development, and strategic planning, On Point Strategies hopes to strengthen agribusiness here in Georgia, which would in turn boost the industry as a whole.
If we bring more business to Georgia, if we make help existing businesses find markets, if we help them employ more people, it just strengthens the entire agricultural economy. Everybody has a needle to thread, but why would you do it blindfolded? You never would. You got to see the objective and have those stated objectives and goals and really plan for your business. So we're helping people do that.
One of the major issues they are working on at the moment is how to expand Georgia's reach when it comes to agricultural commodities throughout the world.
How do we penetrate a market? How do we, we're building, I'm thankful to have wonderful relationships with most of the consulate generals here in Atlanta that represent Georgia and the Southeast from the countries that are key trading partners like Brazil. And we've used those relationships, built those relationships, and there's a deep desire to do business.
And that could benefit one market in particular, especially after seeing a tariff in India being reduced from 100% to just 30%.
Just as Georgia grown pecans have gotten on the tables in Asia and China, China and other parts of Asia, now with the reduction of tariffs, something that I worked on for a number of years, and thankfully the team now has finally brought it to fruition and have a much better situation now in India to market our products.
As for the long-term goal for this endeavor, Black says it's pretty simple.
If you come to us with you say, you know what, I've got a mission that looks impossible. Can you make it mission possible for us? And that's what we do.
Reporting from Fulton County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Oh, hey everybody, Ranger Nick here. I'm out here looking for alien life forms in this field. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna explain why this contraption right here is used by UGA scientists to study breathing under the soil. Why would they wanna know that? I'll explain next.
The spotted lanternfly is an invasive pest found in several counties in the northeast United States and is threatening American agriculture and natural resources.
It damages more than 70 types of plants, including grapevines, fruit trees, and hardwoods.
We need your help to look for and report it. Spotted lanternflies excrete a sticky fluid that promotes mold growth and weakens plants. First seen in Pennsylvania in 2014, this invasive pest has been found in nearby states because people unknowingly moved infested materials or items containing egg masses. Most states are at risk because this pest, in all stages, can easily hitchhike on things we move. So to stop the spread of spotted lanternfly, we're working with state and local partners and you. Look for spotted lanternflies year-round. When they're young, in spring and summer, they are black with white spots and turn red as they mature. Adults with their colorful wings are easy to spot in late summer and fall. Newly laid egg masses look like wet gray putty before turning dull and brown, like cracked mud. Look for egg masses in fall, winter, and spring on all variety of outdoor surfaces like trees, bricks, stones, fences, grills, outdoor equipment, and vehicles. They gather in groups and feed on trees, especially the invasive tree of heaven, or Alanthus, its preferred host. If you see spotted lanternfly, report it. Contact your State Department of Agriculture or Cooperative Extension Office. Learn more at the Hungry Pests website, aphis.usda.gov/hungrypests/SLF.
Well, look at this beautiful stand of trees. Right outside of Athens, Georgia, you see these beautiful trees and you might not think to yourself about what happens under the ground that helps these trees to grow so well. Well, there's an individual that knows a thing or two about that, and that's Dr. Rebecca Abney. Hey, Doc.
Hey,
just happened to see you out in the woods today. What do you know? So, Dr. Abney is an assistant professor of forest and disturbed soils in the Warnell School of Forestry and Natural Resources, a colleague of mine. And Doc, you're standing over here looking at some burned pieces of wood. This stand was recently burned some time ago. Why are you staring at these charred pieces of sticks? And I see you've got a bucket of other things over here. Talk to me about what do you study with regards to this?
Yeah, Nick. So I also consider myself a soil biogeochemist, and I'm interested in soil carbon specifically. And so a lot of people don't know that soils store more carbon than the atmosphere and the terrestrial biosphere combined. Underground.
Wow.
And that form of carbon is sometimes very stable, and I'm really interested in how the carbon gets into the soil and what keeps it there. And we can use that hopefully to start managing our atmospheric CO2 if we keep more carbon in the soil. So that's one of the big goals of my research.
And you think about that, that's something that's out of sight, maybe out of mind for some, but not to you. And I'm thinking about the burned pieces of wood in this bucket of burned ash, it looks like over here, Doc. Talk to me about the folks at home that watch the show regularly have heard biochar be mentioned. How does this relate to biochar, or is it?
Yeah, so in the soil, there's different types of carbon that come from all different sources. So we have like leaves, pine cones, needles, and after fire, charcoal. And for the microbes and fungi that live in soil, they have preferences for sometimes what's more yummy to them. So if we think of charcoal, it's not the yummiest thing compared to like sugar, or for us, it's kind of the comparison of a cupcake or celery. You're probably gonna go for the cupcake.
Yeah, for some reason.
For some reason. And so biochar and charcoal tends to be in soil for much longer than other forms of carbon. And so we can use that to improve our carbon storage and potentially sequestration. So it's been posed as a management strategy for mitigating climate change.
Such an interesting topic, and one of the things I want to talk about next is the folks at home that might be interested in putting this down on some plants or trees. How long is that stuff going to stay in the soil before it gets leached out? I want to go there next, so let's do it. Well, what you're looking at there is the machine that is used to determine respiration, what is breathing under the soil. And Dr. Abney, we're out here in a field right now, and we're going to use this machine, this Lycor machine, to put it on the ground and measure that breathing. So walk us through this. How's this going to work?
All right. So we have what we call a collar, which is just a pipe that we've hammered into the ground. And then this is fitted with an O-ring that makes a nice tight seal, so we can place this instrument right on there and get a good seal.
And you know, Doc, just to tell the folks at home, that pipe is only a few inches in the ground, so the soil is right there that can be measured.
Exactly. Cool. And then I take the soil probe and we stick that into the ground. And this guy measures temperature, moisture, and electrical conductivity in the soil, which is a measure of how salty it is.
And when we say respiration, breathing, what's breathing under there?
Yeah, so there's microbes in the soil and then macro and megafauna. And these are ants, earthworms, bacteria, fungi, and archaea are all down there doing their living.
And this is determining the amount they're breathing. So here's another one of those questions from me. So let's tie in that biochar we were talking about before. How's that play into this thing?
Okay, so the biochar is a more stable form of carbon, like we talked about before. So it's less yummy to microbes than some other forms. So as form of like total carbon, if we were to calibrate how much breathing is happening based on how much carbon in the soil, it would be lower. So we think of it as more stable pool of carbon in the soil.
That is so interesting, and the benefits of having that in the soil for everything, and not just that, but the things that are growing in the soil. Well, what I want to do, Doc, is I want to look more closely at that iPad and what information this is giving you, and then what do you do with it? So let's go there next. All right, Doc, so we made our way back to the car here. I want to talk about the information that the Lycor gives you, and what do you do with that stuff to measure all that respiration, all that breathing under the soil. So, Doc, what are you doing with this?
Yeah, so the Lycor measures CO2 pretty much instantaneously. And so when the chamber goes down and it becomes a closed system, then the CO2 starts to accumulate inside the chamber. And so that's what this is. So this is once the chamber goes down, it goes up, and it goes up in a linear fashion. And we use that linear relationship, so we find the slope of that line and we put that into the ideal gas law, and that tells us about the flux of carbon. So what is the rate of carbon that's coming out of the soil?
And different times a day? With this at night versus the morning, how would that line or that slope be different?
Yeah, so it's much slower at night because it's cooler usually, and then much more like in the middle of the day, much more in the summer as well.
And if I'm sitting at home and I'm going, all right, this information, if I'm growing things out in the field, how would that be useful to me?
Well, if you're using your land for carbon sequestration, maybe you've applied biochar to it and you want to know, is that biochar going to stay there? How stable is my carbon? This can give you an indicator of that.
This is the kind of thing that's happening in the Warnell School of Forestry and Natural Resources. Doc, thanks for today.
Thanks for having me.
I learned a lot. I hope you all did too. So listen, while you're online, learning more about all the things that are going on at UGA and the Warnell School of Forestry and Natural Resources, check out the Ranger Nick Facebook page, see what all I've got going on. And until next time, for the Farm Monitor, as I always say, Doc, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching. We'll look forward to seeing you right back here again this time next month. See ya.
When we come back, unraveling the mysteries of a virus that knows no boundaries, the surprising connection between COVID-19 and white-tailed deer.
Well, finally this week, in what's being called a groundbreaking initiative, USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, also known as APHIS, is shedding light on the potential spread of COVID-19 in wild white-tailed deer.
Yeah, their year one findings revealing critical insights into active SARS infection among these animals. This collaborative effort between APHIS, state wildlife agencies, and partners, a vital step in bolstering our nation's readiness to identify and combat emerging animal diseases.
Well, the work we're doing today here is related to SARS-CoV-2 sampling in white-tailed deer. We're doing urban deer control work in the metro area. Any deer that is taken is under the request by individual cities who are experiencing damage from white-tailed deer. It might be increased vehicle-deer collision or damage to property. We're already doing the control work for these deer, so it presents an opportunity for us to take samples for SARS-CoV-2 and white-tailed deer.
Early on in the pandemic, there was a paper that came out that was showing other than humans might be most susceptible to the COVID virus. And up there pretty high in their predictive list were white-tailed deer. And we were like, why would they be there? And so we said, well, let's test this. And lo and behold, yeah, they were very susceptible, and that it multiplied to fairly high numbers within them, and they could shed it in such a way that other deer picked it up and could be infected.
The primary reason for the research that's being done is to try to understand better what the impact of COVID is on our natural resources such as white-tailed deer.
And we're expanding on that to try and understand some of the data scientists are collecting from the field.
The work that we're doing locally here is combined with the work that's being done throughout the country and other locations to give us a better understanding of just how widespread it may be in white-tailed deer.
Field samples usually consist of nasal swabs, blood, or pieces of tissue. We're trying to determine how long those nasal swabs stay positive in an infected animal so that we know what that means when we get a positive sample in the wild.
We've received funding as a part of the ARP, or American Rescue Plan, to help answer some important research questions concerning SARS-CoV-2 and white-tailed deer.
American Rescue Plan has been critical as far as the COVID virus research goes. I mean, we wouldn't and couldn't be doing it without those funds.
Because it is a very popular game species that's hunted in almost every state. So the implications of that disease becoming more present could impact that as a recreational sport for a lot of hunters throughout the country.
All medical fields, whether they be human or veterinary, look at the interface of animals and humans and the environment.
And to try to figure out whether or not there is some sort of longer or larger impact to both people and the natural resources because of this disease.
Before we go, a friendly reminder that for all the latest ag news regarding food, recipes, and what's happening on Georgia farms, be sure you check out all of our social media platforms, including farm-monitor.com. Next week, my friend,
I will be here. Yes. For Jennifer, myself, and everyone here at the show, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you next week as well, right here on the Farm Monitor.